Good morning and welcome to the morning show with Angel and Tina. Happy Wednesday to you. Look at our beautiful guest in the studio. Tina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Angel, do you know what today is? Okay, so there's a few big things today. Today is the first anniversary of the Angel and Tina morning show.
Like what year anniversary?
You need to have like balloons and like confetti.
Yes.
Or champagne, right? I'm drinking water.
Or coffee.
We're horrible. We're drinking like water. We're not having champagne.
Coffee yet today.
Wait, say what? You haven't even had coffee?
I haven't even had coffee. I'm in Denver today. And so I am 2 hours earlier than we are normally. So
can you show them this little note that you showed me today?
All right. Any of y'all have trouble with the time zone thing? So
Angel has a little time zone issue.
So I had to make myself a note, like, okay, so this is the Eastern time zone, which is what's in my calendar, but this is the mountain time of what time it really is, so that I can like know where I have to be all day today, because it just totally messes with my head. So I have my cheat sheet for all the days that I'm here. I have Thursday and Friday too.
It took her like 6 months to get Eastern time zone acclimated, and now she's back in Denver.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be all messed up. And on top of it being our first anniversary, I'm having a fabulous guest that we're gonna introduce in a second. It is our producer, Zondra Evans' 21st birthday.
Yay! Yeah, you hold it right there. 21st birthday.
21, baby.
Happy birthday, Zondra.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
And you're not even in Dallas. You're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
We're just all over the place.
It's just amazing what you can do with technology. You can be anywhere and do anything, right? So
and we have one of my new favorite people in the world. Like one of my new favorite. You guys all know that I'm single, going through the whole thing. You guys are all sending me single books and how to get over being whatever. I got this book, Eat, Pray, FML, from a friend of mine, and it took me 2.5 days to read it. And I immediately reached out to this girl. Gabrielle Stone is in the studio.
Yeah, it's early out here in LA, so technology, but we're on PST over here.
You are very early. I want you to know, Gabrielle, when we first started this, Tina wanted us to do the show. We were doing it even an hour earlier.
Yeah,
and
we were doing it at 10.
All of our West Coast guests were coming in during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have anywhere to go. There was no reason to get up so early.
Yeah, or put makeup on or put clothing on.
Right.
Yeah.
We were like this. You do know it's early, right?
We pushed it an hour. We pushed it a little bit later. So just for our West Coasters. But I know Tina got a copy of your book. She binge read it, started stalking you on social media. And
maybe not the word. I mean, it was worse than stalking. But I mean, she was super nice too. I mean, you don't think that people would respond like that, but she was super nice. Throughout the whole time I'm binge reading her book. And for those of you guys who have not read it, you guys definitely need to get it. But throughout the book, I'm like, oh, what? Oh hell!
You have no idea how often I get that with people.
And then, she has this huge social media presence. She's on Instagram and all that. So in the book, it always says oh, you can find that in my Instagram story. So then, when you're reading a book and it's like a story, you want to be in it. So I was going through her whole entire Instagram to go through to that picture for that spot in this book that I'm reading at that exact time.
It makes it like interactive. I'm glad I ended up posting during that trip because I wasn't sure I was going to. It was either like go social media dark or like share everything. And I had posted this picture when I was at the airport, kind of like announcing my divorce and what was going on for the first time. And I was flooded with hundreds and hundreds of messages about like, oh my God, this changed my day. Like this gave me hope. Please keep sharing your journey. So I made a conscious decision to share everything and show up really authentically on days that were like really terrible. I would post about that and write what I was feeling. And then on days that I was having an awesome time, I would post about that. But it's become so cool because all of my readers now go back and every day, all of my Europe photos in a string are getting liked. And they're like 100 photos back. So they're like deep in there. And it's really,
really dig through it. So you gotta, I'm glad I'm not the only stalker.
You're not alone.
I told her, I texted her, I said, am I the only one who has to go back to your Instagram photos and like be in the moment with this book? And she's like, no, you're not.
No, it happens every day and I love it.
But I mean, this girl, she's pretty awesome. She has an amazing story. You're gonna hear her story here in a few minutes, but and you guys all know, about my whole entire thing that, look, okay, I just gotta say, because I just put self tanner on and I think I didn't get my neck.
Good to me, girl.
I was in the sun yesterday and then I put that self tanner by Chelsea Smith and I'm like doing all this and using my little thing and rubbing it and I feel like it's just red.
I think you look good.
You look great. Yeah,
you do.
And yeah, Zondra's always looking so glamorous. Tina's always looking so glamorous. Right? You guys look dynamite. You guys look dynamite. All right. Well, let me read Gabrielle's bio so you guys get to know just a little bit more about her. And of course, we know you guys are going to go and binge through her Instagram, but she's no stranger to the world of entertainment. Growing up on set with her legendary Scream Queen mother, Dee Wallace, you might know her from Cujo or Tina's very first movie she ever saw in the theaters, E.T. She had days of licking off mommy's fake blood and watching behind the scenes movie magic. Seeing the world with mom and dad gave her the travel bug at an early age until she experienced a real life horror when she lost her father suddenly at the age of 7. After many years in the industry herself, she transitioned from meaty acting roles to writing and directing. Her award-winning films, It Happened Again Last Night and After Emma, gained her awards for writing, directing, and acting, but she had a bigger role in life that would soon present itself. Can I say this, Tina? Can I read this, freaking badass? Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay.
She is a freaking badass.
Okay.
I'll say it for you.
After the rug was vigorously pulled out from under her when her husband's affair came to light, she found herself falling into the arms of another man. After a second failed attempt at love and a massive heartbreak, she decided that instead of landing flat on her ass, she'd make a career out of it. And so came the birth of the book, Eat, Pray, #FML, where she shared all the mistakes, all the lessons, most importantly, how she became a fearless leader from it all. Tina Torres's new Bible mantra, like, I won't leave home without it, daily access, right, to get her through. We have Miss Gabrielle Stone. We're so excited to have you with us.
Thanks for having me here.
Let me tell you, the whole entire story, like the first like 2 or 3 chapters, I'm like, this is my life. This is my life.
You have no idea how often I hear that and how many DMs I get from people saying, oh my God, this is like, I feel like you're writing my story, which is so sad.
It is very sad. But I was telling Angel, I was like, oh my God, I just got this new book. This is how my 3rd book is gonna be, because she knows that my 3rd book is gonna be my life book. I said, this is how I want my 3rd book, just like for them to like go through my whole story.
Yeah, I love it.
But you're so vulnerable and honest in this book, and like she holds nothing back. The good, the bad, the ugly.
So Gabrielle, are you like that in real life? Was this like, were you always this open and honest with everybody?
Yeah, I think that I'm known for being very open and vulnerable. you know, obviously went through a lot of tragedy in my younger years. I walked in and found my father dead on the floor when I was 7 years old. And then when I was 18, lost my high school sweetheart in a car accident. So I've dealt with a lot of heavy tragicness in my life. And my mom, you know, taught me from a very young age that we can be sad and we can grieve and we can feel all the feelings we need to feel to move through it. But eventually we're going to come to a crossroads, and you can choose to either be a victim to the stuff that happens to you in your life, or you can choose to let it become part of your story and rise up from that. And I'm very thankful for that, because it's because of that that my vulnerability has kind of become my strength. And so, yeah, I think that when people meet me, I'm very open. I'm an open book, no pun intended. But obviously when I wrote the book, this was like a whole new level of putting myself out there.
Because
Like,
it's in writing, right? You can't
it is
say, I didn't
everything.
mean that, or I didn't say that. They're like, nope, here it is on page 37.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And when my mom read the first draft, she was like, God, Gabrielle, are you sure you don't want to like change your name or like take out one of the guys you sleep with? And I was like, no, you know, if I'm going to write about it, it's got to be authentic. It's got to be as it happened. And even some publishers that we took it to were like, oh, we like it, but like, could we tone it down a little bit? And I was like, no, like this is how people are going to relate to it, because this is real life and everyone has gone through this at some point or another. Male, female, heartbreak and grief is universal. So I knew that people were going to connect with it if I wrote it from an authentic place. And so I decided to self-publish, and lo and behold, it's a bestseller now.
Right?
That's awesome.
It is because of that honesty and that brutal, that brutalness of it, that so many men, I mean, men and women, I think mostly women, but men and women can both see that. But you always think, and I know I always thought I was the only one going through this horrible thing that I went through.
You tend to hide, right? You hide the story. You don't want to,
You're ashamed.
air your dirty laundry for everybody in the world to see or to hear. And so then I think that's where that shame and embarrassment, and we just stay in that muck, right?
And I totally felt that at the beginning of my divorce, when I found out that, I guess I should give like a synopsis of the book for people that are like, what are they even talking about? So I was married for almost 2 years, found out my husband was having an affair with a 19-year-old for 6 months, filed for divorce, left. Shortly after that, met a guy, fell madly in love with each other, and had this whirlwind romance. And he convinced me to go on a month-long trip to Italy with him. 48 hours before we were getting on the plane, he told me he needed to go by himself. And I was absolutely devastated, broke my heart like my ex-husband never could have done. And I was sitting on my bed in a pool of tears with a bottle of wine and a gallon of ice cream, and was like, well, Gabrielle, you have a decision to make. And that's either stay at home heartbroken or go travel Europe for a month by yourself. So I took a backpack that was already packed for my trip and did 6 countries over the span of a month and wrote Eat, Pray, FML about it. So that's what the book's about. But as I was saying at the beginning, when I found out about the cheating and realized I was getting a divorce at the age of 28, I was really embarrassed about it. And there was a lot of shame around it. To like have to tell all my friends and family that have just come to this beautiful wedding that we had. Because I mean, when you get married, you don't ever think like, oh, this is going to end in divorce. And
or so quickly, right? Like, so, like you're still kind of in that honeymoon phase.
Yeah, so quickly and so like grossly, like it just like the depths of his affair. And the, this was the main affair that I found out about. There was like many other, questionable situations. It was like embarrassing. And once I got over that and walked through that, I was able to like kind of be proud of it, because it was like, yeah, I walked away from that and I chose to leave, and there was never a question in my mind that I was going to stay. And I'm thankful to him, because I'm so much happier now. And that was like the first element of this snowball effect that ended up leading me on this trip to write this book.
And since I shared my story, and I know a lot of your comments have the same thing, saying that I think women who are who leave and get a divorce are stronger than the ones who stay.
I think it's dependent. I think it's dependent on the situation. I think it takes a lot of strength to leave, yeah, but I think it takes a lot of strength to stay too. Like, I know I have friends in my life that have gone through infidelity and have chosen to stay. Like, you know, Jana Kramer is a good friend of mine. We had her on an episode of FML Talk. And then I also had her husband on an episode to talk about both sides of it. And they've gone through infidelity in a very public way. And the fact that they've stayed together and fought for their marriage, like, that takes a lot of strength too. Sometimes it is easier to just be like, okay, bye, gonna go the other way. So I think it takes strength on both ends in different ways, and it's dependent on the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So the book, right? Eat, Pray, #FML. You lay it all out, right? You just bring it all to the table. And I think, I know Tina was asking you now, she's like, okay, so now she wants to know, like, about all the people that are in it. It sounds like there might be a sequel.
Yes. So I'm currently in the edit process on the sequel, which is basically, it picks up right when I get off the plane from Europe and come back home, all the way to December of 2019. So it's a 2-year span. So it's much more time is covered, because Eat, Pray, FML, as ridiculous as this sounds, goes from when I find out about the cheating to when I finish my Europe trip, which was only 3.5 months. By the time that I found out about the cheating, left my husband, met the guy, fell in love with the guy, got broken up with, went to Europe, 3.5 months. So it really felt like my life had turned into this weird sadistic sitcom.
Right. But like in the book, it's like day 19 in Europe, day 20 in Europe, like day 21 in Europe. And so you're like going to Europe with her. Like, you're going to Barcelona, you're going to like all of these places. And like, I went like downstairs, I told my roommate, oh my God, we need to go to Europe.
Yeah, I think that's why people, when they message me after reading, feel like they're my best friend, because it's written in a way that really takes you with me and you feel like you're on the trip with me. And it really, I'm so glad that it makes people want to travel, because what that trip did for me was make me fall in love with solo travel. And it totally changed my life. And I think that everyone should do it at least once in their life. So I love that whenever people read it, they're like, I need to get on a plane right now.
Well, and there's been a lot of books that inspire people to go and do like these epic trips, right? Like, you know, these walks and these journeys and yours is now right up there, right? Of, you know, the top books that inspire you to go and do something you've never thought you would do before. And I don't know if that's like a book series or if there's a list that is out there.
But I'm happy to be on it. Yeah, it really is fulfilling to, I've gotten so many DMs over the past, I think it's been out for like a little over 1.5 years now, about, you know, this book made me leave an abusive relationship, or I filed for divorce, or I chose to see the problems in my marriage and go to therapy, or I decided to, you know, work on my relationship, or I learned how to love myself, or I took my first solo trip, really incredible life-changing things that are happening in people's lives that is a result of the crazy things that I went through in a year where I thought my life was going to be over. And it really brings it full circle and is so fulfilling for me.
Now, there's a process in the book that you go through, and I think it's like the last 10 or 15 chapters that you go through. Can you tell us about that process and how you came about finding it?
Are you talking about the Thought Onion?
Yeah.
Yes. So the Thought Onion was actually born on the streets of London on my very first day walking around. And I was walking around and I had this amazing day. I was like, oh my God, I'm so fearless. I'm so awesome. I'm here and I'm doing it by myself. And then I heard from Javier, who's the guy that broke my heart before Europe, and had all these pictures that he sent me come through. And I got so angry. And I was walking back to the train station and I was yelling at myself in my head you know, about how pissed off I was. And then I was like, okay, well, do you want to figure out why you're pissed off, or do you want to just continue to like let this ruin your day? And I was like, okay, fine, let's figure it out. So I'm having this conversation in my head with myself as I walk through the streets of London.
So for those who speak to yourself and talk to yourself in your head, you're okay.
Totally. Yeah, I'm like a cartoon character. And so I was like, okay, yes, I want to figure out why I'm so angry about this. So I stopped, and that's where the thought onion was born. And I have to say, at that moment, you know, when I went home and wrote about it, I was like, this is such a stupid name. I'm going to end up changing this later, but then kept writing it on the trip. And then by the end of it was like, well, I might as well just leave it. I mean, it's pretty accurate. And people ended up loving it, thankfully, because I thought it was a stupid name at first. But anyways, it's a technique where you can really look at your thoughts and your emotions and figure out what's underneath them and what's causing them. So you look at it like an onion, and the first level is the superficial thought. So that's usually the first initial reaction that you have to something before you can even like allow your brain to catch up with what's going on. And it's usually superficial and a very, you know, knee-jerk reaction. And then you take a step back and you peel that layer back and you get to the authentic thought. And the authentic thought is the emotion that's underneath that. So what emotion is causing that knee-jerk superficial thought to happen? And then you take a step back from that and you peel that layer back and you get to the subconscious thought, which is where the real like golden nuggets are. And the subconscious thought is usually a belief or an unhealed trauma or something that's like really deep that you need to heal or fix in order to have a different reaction next time or moving forward. And that's where the really, really good stuff is. And if you can get to that level, it really can show you the areas that you need to start working on and healing.
That is so profound, Gabrielle, for you to be like in the moment of experiencing this, to say, all right, let's peel it back and figure out why. I mean, how often, I mean, I'm mad. Like, I don't think I've ever had an emotional reaction and thought, then why am I having this? Like, why am I feeling this?
It really peels it back. Like all throughout the thing, you can see that she's like rationalizing it all. And you're like, oh, dang,
it doesn't.
I couldn't even thought that.
Later, when I'm all calmed down, I can get there. But in the moment, you were able to think, all right, let's peel this. Let's peel this back.
I mean, look, as much as I thank you and I appreciate that, it was probably 10 or 15 minutes of me walking through the streets of London, pissed off, listening to my music.
That's 10 or 15 minutes. It would take most people 10 or 15 minutes.
But it's if you can be disciplined with yourself and really stop and do that and be like, why am I having this reaction? It saves yourself so much grief of like going through, you know, because it only affects your energy. The other person that pissed you off doesn't care, you know, like they're just going about their lives. So it really can like, it can bring up a lot of really good things that you need to look inside yourself about.
I think that that I can see why, okay, this is a dumb name, but now that it's over with, you're like, it's actually perfect. And people can really latch onto it. And I think we can, that's sticky, right? Thought onion. Well, let's bring in Miss Zondra into our conversation, right? Obviously, she's our producer. She's been a guest here many, many times on the show. She's the founder and executive producer of the Communications Award-winning TV network, which is a global multimedia platform. The Zondra TV network touts itself as an affordable global marketing and advertising company that leverages TV streaming platforms such as Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and BC TV, with a potential reach of more than 200 million viewers and users. Zondra prides herself on creating a TV platform that showcases small businesses locally, nationally, and globally. She is the first to develop a TV/media incubator where you learn how to pivot and become your own TV show producer. No stranger to breakthroughs, heartache, and change as we celebrate her on her birthday today. Zondra, you got been around the block, right? A couple times, right?
Oh, I've been around the block more than a couple of times. So I promise you, Gabrielle, I'm gonna be stalking you next. Like, let me read this book and get on with it.
I
Because
love it.
there's nothing, I would say this, first of all, there is nothing more devastating, in my opinion, is to have a man cheat on you. Because you'd be like, wait a minute. First of all, and I don't know about you, Gabrielle, but you go through this whole thing of, I'm pretty, I look
Like,
good, I take care of myself, I'm decent, I can cook.
Right?
And then you get to the point. And so I understand the feeling of the onion layers. Absolutely, I love that. That is very prolific. I love it. So thank you for sharing that this morning, because I could really relate to that. Get on down to why are you really feeling that way?
Right?
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, and I think too, I've done a couple of podcast episodes now on FML Talk where we talk about cheating, because a lot of my listeners, have experienced that at one point or another. And what I always say is it has nothing to do with you. Freaking J-Lo got cheated on.
Right?
Like, what? So it has nothing to do with the person that's in the relationship. Yes, there can be problems. Yes, there may be some things that, you could have been doing better, but like that doesn't warrant cheating. When someone cheats, it's because they have a void within themselves and a low self-esteem inside themselves, and they're trying to fill that, and they're not getting it from you, which is not your job. So they're gonna look wherever else they can to fill that void, even though it's not gonna be filled with anybody else. That has to be filled by, your own self. I always tell people it has nothing to do with you.
I agree.
It's so far from that.
I agree. I agree, but I think the normal reaction, like I'm being transparent, the normal reaction is,
Right?
are you kidding me? I mean, wait.
Everything to do with you.
Zondra, because that was my normal reaction for a longest time. And you guys know that I'm a reality junkie. Like, I was watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Yes, I know. Hate comments start coming in. But I was watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and they were getting cheated on. I'm going, if they're getting cheated on and they look like they do, like, this is not me.
How freeing, Gabrielle, for you to say that to people. Like, what a release for them, because I think
people hold so much, like guilt and shame on themselves, like, oh, I should have done this and this and this. And like, my ex was, he went around telling people, oh, she never had sex with me, like, this is why. And it was like, yeah, we were having sex like 2 to 3 times a week, and we were really busy. But he wanted it twice a day, 50 Shades of Grey style. And that ain't going to happen if you're Channing Tatum. I don't care what you're doing. And it was like,
well, maybe if you're Channing Tatum. No.
Okay. But you have to like step back and be like, okay, you can say all this stuff about me. You can like, try and manipulate people to thinking that it was my fault. But like, there's never an excuse for cheating. Like, man up, tell me you want a divorce. Like, we were in therapy. He had all the opportunity in the world to like speak and talk about this stuff. Right. And so I try and like tell people that it's like, it really has nothing to do with you. So you can feel the grief of the relationship. You can feel the embarrassment and the shame that like the initial shock will bring, but like, don't carry that forward with you, because it has nothing to do with you.
And the grass is not on the other side. Start watering your own grass, and your grass will grow nice and green with flowers. The grass ain't always greener on the other side.
Yeah, or like, it's yes, but also like, if you want to go to the other side, that's fine. But like, just tell me so I can go pick my own freaking flowers, like I've never understood why cheating is a better scenario in someone's head than to like pick up. And we didn't have kids. We didn't own a house together. Like, it wasn't like he had all this money at stake that I was going to take if we like split. Like, it was should have been a seemingly simple divorce. Yeah. And it was like, why go through, having a second phone and like sneaking away? It's like, it must be exhausting, dude.
Just the stress of the lies and everything you have to cover up, and the second,
it's exhausting.
Life and,
yes.
All right. Well, I'm so glad you wrote the book, right? And so glad that you're here and that we're all like getting to experience all this together. And the fact that you're now writing the second book, because I know, like, what happens? Like, what?
I know,
So,
right? Like so
you had this 3.5 month cartoon journey, right? Like all this stuff was happening. What has it been like since?
Well, I came back from Europe, and I had to kind of really deal with a lot of stuff that was going on inside, because as much as I was healing in different ways on that trip, I was also, partying and meeting people and, very wrapped up in what was going on that month. And when I came home, everything stopped. And I was living at my mother's house, and I was divorced, and I was brokenhearted over the guy that broke up with me before Europe. And like everything just was stagnant. And I fell into a really gnarly depression. And it took me a while to pull myself out of it, which is why in Eat, Pray, FML, I write about the self-love cocktail, which is my way of loving yourself in the epilogue, because I didn't find that on the trip. I found that when I came home, and that's really what pulled me out of that. But the second book is filled with many of the same men that we meet in the first book. They all
guy.
some make little cameo appearances. Some are more supporting characters.
But
and
there's a new guy. What is his name? Tyler.
Yeah. Well, his name is Tyler in the book. But yes, that's the man that I'm with now. His name is Tay. And it's so people on my Instagram that are so like invested in my story now, they know the ending. They know that I ended up with this man, but I don't think they have any idea of like the roller coaster of 2 years that it took for us to like end up being together, what he endured with me, how many other elements were at play. And then I ended up going on a solo trip to Southeast Asia. So that's all in the book as well.
Well, in the second solo trip.
Yeah, this was like my first solo trip by choice, but my second solo trip.
But in the book, like in Eat, Pray, FML, she didn't want to go home because she knew that she had to go back to like reality.
Oh, reality, yeah.
It was a mixture of that, and I just became so obsessed with solo travel. And for a moment on my last stop, I was like, God, maybe I should just keep going. And my bank account was like, no, girl, you gotta go home. So I did, but I definitely I would have kept going for months and months if I could have.
Zondra, have you ever done a solo trip like that?
Well, I was sitting here thinking about that, and I was like, well, I guess I did solo trips all the time, but not for fun. They were just because I was working. I'd have to go to a city and, different cities around the US and figure out, although I did travel internationally too, but yeah, and try to figure out the city and what I'm gonna do for fun and where I'm gonna go shop and who I was by myself, so I guess, yes, kind of a hybrid of what you did, Gabrielle, but it wasn't like what you did, because I would love to just go, I ain't doing nothing every day, and I get up at 11 and do whatever I want to do, and I can stay as late as I want to. Wasn't quite that.
Right? It makes you want to like she literally lived in a backpack for almost a month and met these amazing group of people in every single city. And like in most of the cities, these groups of people like completely changed her life. That's awesome. And it was, and they probably never even knew it. They probably, like, this is a party girl, let's go party. But like they had like these conversations and these like huge interactions that changed this girl's life.
Yeah, I always say I'm a walking example that everything happens for a reason just because of my story in general. But if you look at the way my Europe trip played out, it really, the universe like just did it so perfectly. So my first stop in London, I stayed at my girlfriend's house that I went to high school with. So I was still like alone adventuring around during the day for most of the time, except for a day or two that we went out together. But I had that like safety and security on my first stop that I was at least like not fully alone. And then I went to Amsterdam and I stayed at this little apartment who a friend of a friend set me up with. And she was like this older, quirky lady who reminded me of like a cartoon version of my mother. But I didn't know her. So it was a step further outside of my comfort zone. And then I went to Paris next. And that was like my first full on, like you're staying at a hostel, like you don't know anyone. So it kind of like eased me into the whole solo travel idea. And even each person that I met in the different places, like I met some person in Amsterdam and they invited me to Mykonos, and like in Mykonos, I met someone else that like was an integral part of my journey. So it really was like every place that I ended up, I met people that I was supposed to meet, and many of them are still friends and in my life until this day. And we laugh about the fact that they met this random girl on their Europe trip and now they're a character in a book.
Well, and they all knew that she's writing this book. And like, she's like, do you want your name in there? You know, put my name as this, you know? And
oh yeah, I would tell everybody, I'd be like, look, I'm writing a book. If you're hanging out with me, you're going to probably end up in it. So everybody that was written about knew they were getting written about, except my one night stand in Amsterdam. And I couldn't tell you where he is, what his name is, or if he has any idea.
So Tina, are you going to take a solo trip?
No. However, I did tell her.
She is.
No, I don't know. I have trouble even going to like have dinner by myself because I feel like such a loner. I don't know why. I feel like such a
when you push through that, girl, it will change your life. If you take a solo trip, it will force you out of your comfort zone and totally change.
I'm such an extrovert.
So the baby step is go have dinner by yourself and be comfortable.
I'm gonna be like,
I mean, I do that. I don't have a problem with going, I'll go here. Go to places by yourself and then you'll be ready.
Yeah.
Baby step it.
Yeah.
I told her, I said, you need to have like a retreat where you take like a group of women to Europe and do like your whole eat, pray, FML.
Oh my God, like a tour. That's so funny. No, but it is a dream of mine to do like a 2-week retreat in Thailand to this city that I fell in love with when I was there, and kind of like bring people that have resonated with me and my journey and make it like a 2-week, travel and like self-love kind of like healing, just like women empowerment workshop. So that's like on the horizon of like my eventual to-dos.
and be probably prepared for a Lifetime movie, because I see this coming out as a Lifetime. Well, maybe
not Lifetime, girl, please. We're aiming way higher than Lifetime.
Like, this is not even Lifetime material. This is like,
this is definitely movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gabrielle, who would play you in the movie?
So it's a funny question because originally I got asked this all the time and was just like having fun with the answers. We're actually actively pitching it right now as a series because I think it fits better in like a limited series than trying to squeeze it all into one movie. But there's so many people that could really like do it justice. God, I don't know. I love Kaylee Cuoco.
She would be awesome.
Yeah. God.
Okay, so who would play your ex?
Like, there's so many people that I feel like could really do it justice. But not me.
Who would play your ex and who would play Javier?
I never know how to. I get asked about my ex all the time, and I don't know. It's really tough because he has to be really like a douchebag underneath, like, kind of like cool guy, like pretty nice boy. Maybe like a Zac Efron, but that's still, even when I say that, I'm like, that's giving him way too much credit. I don't know. That's a tough one. Javier, I think, could be like a Wilmer Valderrama, Manuel Garcia Rufo. There's a bunch of people that could probably do a really great job.
Right. So here it starts out, right? It's this tragic, this heartbreak, and now you go off and you're writing it, becoming the book, but now it's becoming the movie. You're going to see it on the big screen. I mean, that is I can't even begin to feel like, what would that feel like, right?
Well, we're in the very early stages of pitching it. And, you know, I grew up in Hollywood and I direct, I've done my own films. So I know like what a process it can be. But that is an end goal for me. I would love to see it on screen, not only just to see that visual representation of my journey, but because I know so many more people would then be exposed to it and then end up healing from it, you know, because there's only so many people that are going to read the book. There's only so many people that'll listen to the audiobook. And I think when it's on a TV type forum, it'll expose so many more people to it that can then, you know, be turned on to the book and then in turn heal from it.
But it could end up being like one of those series, right? Yeah, where it has, you know, 6 episodes or whatever.
Yeah,
I would love to see it as like a bingeable, you know, Netflix series. That's where I think it fits best.
I think
I can see that. I can totally see that.
Trending now, Eat, Pray, FML.
Absolutely. I can see it.
Right? So have you ever thought about having your life turned into a movie?
Are you talking to me?
I mean, look what you've done.
Oh, you know, I think my life is a movie. So yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, I always say, you know, I'm going to write a memoir. I'm going to write the story about me and let it, you know, one day, just my whole story, because it's pretty fabulous, you know, in a lot of ways. But then there's a lot of devastation. There's a lot of encouragement in my life. So now I haven't thought about a movie, but I guess it's something to start thinking about, given today is my big birthday.
It is your birthday. It is your birthday. What are you doing to celebrate, Zondra?
I beg your pardon?
What are you doing to celebrate your birthday?
Well, you know what? I am in Atlanta with my daughter and my 2 grandchildren and her husband. And so that's awesome. I couldn't get to my son. He's in California and his family. So we'll do a big dinner tonight. And they've already started with beautiful things like a gorgeous bouquet of flowers and cards and, you know, and gifts. So it's fun. We'll just hang out.
Well, you did get a little gift yesterday. Do you want to show them what your gift that you got in the mail?
Tina wants to show them her present.
I want to show them I want them to know why I sent that to her.
Well, I don't have the bracelet on this morning.
No, the other one.
The one you already showed us.
Oh, the blue rose?
Yeah.
I love this.
You didn't
like this is like a keepsake for me. So do we want to talk about why this?
Yeah, talk about why the blue rose.
Because a blue rose is unconventional and it's you know, it's not customary. It's the thing that happens in your life that you are presented with, and you're presented with these blue rose moments all through your life. Blue roses can actually live for an extended length of time. They really don't require a lot of water. It's that unconventional thing that occurs in your life, right? Like you, Gabrielle, your blue rose moment was to go out for 3 months and experience the world by yourself. And you were willing to do that, but there's many people that are not willing. We just heard Tina say that. There are people that are not willing to do that. But some of your greatest moments occur when you step out into your blue rose moment. And so I wrote a speech about blue roses and the blue rose moment. And so my TV journey, what I'm doing in TV is absolutely my blue rose moment, one of them, that I never thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing today, but I was courageously intentional enough to accept the call. And that's the blue rose moment.
And on May 3rd, is it May 3rd?
Yes.
Are hosting here on the Angel and Tina Morning Show an awards ceremony, a blue rose moment for her, and all of her producers are going to come back on the Angel and Tina Morning Show to receive their certificate, their graduation.
Yeah, it's been a full year. It's been a full year. It's been a full year of the Angel and Tina Morning Show. So happy anniversary to you, Miss Tina. And I think it would be fun to see you journaling or sharing, you taking this concept of solo traveling and discovering yourself and sharing, like, I did this by myself, or
Yeah.
okay, I did write this down.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask you, Gabrielle, what's the self-love cocktail?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the self-love cocktail, the whole trip when I was on it, everybody was like, you've got to learn how to love yourself first. Loving yourself is the most important thing you can do. You can't really love someone else until you love yourself. And I was like, okay, cool, I hear you. How do I do that? Nobody could give me a clear example of like, this is how you love yourself. I always thought it was like looking in the mirror and being like, I love you, Gabrielle, but I felt like a crazy person when I did that. And so I knew that I was searching for an answer to this. And I can't say that I found it on my trip. I found bits and pieces of it on my trip. But that's why I write about it in the epilogue, because it really came when I came home. And the self-love cocktail is basically you sit down and you write out a list of things that you're capable of giving your soul that makes your soul happy. So things you don't need anybody else for. So my list was creating, dancing, meditating, eating healthy. I'm missing one. Going to the gym. And I would write my list down, and you would pick one or two things off of that list every single day to give to yourself. So at first it's kind of like a stiffer cocktail, like a vodka martini, but you're doing one or two ingredients on your list every single day. Then after you start doing that for a couple weeks, you can add in more ingredients until it becomes this fun mixology cocktail. And you're doing it with like a dash of creating, a splash of dancing. And before you know it, you wake up and you're feeling so much better. And that's because you're loving yourself. And when I realized that loving yourself is as simple as giving your soul the things that you love, it totally changed my life. Because when we're in a relationship of any kind, like with a significant other, with a brother or sister, with a mother-daughter, any type of relationship, and you want to make that person feel love, you do things to let them experience love, things that they, would take and feel as love. So when you're trying to give self-love, why would you not do that for yourself?
Do you find, like, you made your list, has it changed? Do you add to it? Is the list really long?
Yeah, you can totally change it. Travel is a big one for me. And that can be, getting on a plane, or it can be going camping for the weekend. Being in nature, so like hiking, writing has become a big one for me, which is technically part creating, I guess. So yeah, it's ever changing and ever growing. Anything that you can do for yourself that makes yourself feel love, as long as you don't need another person to do it with you. Like it can't be like
just you. Yeah. I think I don't think I've ever heard that either. Like, yeah, love yourself. Okay, how do you do that? Right? What does that mean?
It became something that I could now actively do and control, and had some like form of like, oh, okay, I can actually do this for myself every day. It wasn't some like mythical thing that was now floating around, this like magic feeling that I was supposed to be feeling.
I think that's the hardest thing to do, is to try to find yourself again and to learn to love yourself where you are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so Gabrielle, how, like, I know you've got a podcast, you've got an Instagram, you've got all sorts of fabulous ways for people to connect and play with you. How do they connect?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Gabrielle Stone, but I'm most active on Instagram. I think my TikTok is Gabrielle_Stone or -Stone. I really have to figure that out, because that's become like a really big platform for me in the weirdest way. I was so like hesitant and like not wanting to get on TikTok. And then once I was finally forced onto it, I kind of started it as a joke, like in the middle of the pandemic. And now, I've had so many videos that have gone viral and like expanded how many people are reading this book. It's been really life-changing. And the book is Eat, Pray, FML. It's on Amazon exclusively, so you can't get it in normal stores. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at my website, which is eatprayfml.com. We also have like a bunch of merch on the site that has spawned from the book and the podcast.
That's spawned.
Yeah,
that's spawned, Angel.
I said spawned in front of me.
Why? That's what it is. It's a word. That's what it is. It's spawned from this like crazy,
Yeah.
it's become like my life. And the podcast is FML Talk, and it drops every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that you can get your podcasts. And the book is paperback, ebook, and audiobook, and I narrate the audiobook.
Oh, nice.
And let me tell you, it is binge worthy. It is definitely binge worthy. I read it and I'm just like, I want to go to all these places, you know?
Yay. Well, and I hear too, a lot of people that read this book are like, I never read. I hate reading. It's not my thing. I read this in 3 days.
It's me.
I might need it. I might need it for my airplane ride home.
I read it. I read all the time. I read a book a month, you know, for my business or whatever. But like, I literally read this in 3 days. I didn't do nothing else.
Miss Zondra, what exciting things do you have coming up, and how can we get people plugged in with you?
Well, of course, there's always something exciting coming up. Magnetize is coming April 29, where you can get all of your media exposure put together over the 5-week period, and we're excited about that. Where else can you get all of the equipment you need to be virtually on camera and be good at it? Learn how to become one with the camera, learn all of the techniques and things that you need to know for a virtual stage. And so that's coming up April 29. And of course, you can go to magnetize.media and check it out, or just go to BeyondZTV, BEONZTV.com, and it is there as well. So check out Magnetize. It's going to be amazing. Don't miss it.
It is going to be amazing. And what an opportunity, right? We all want to be more comfortable, leverage the power of video, streaming platforms, right, to get our message out into the world. And so it's a 5-week program teaching you everything from A to Z. Magnetize.
That is like genius.
Angel to Zondra.
Right? I love it. Well, happy birthday, Zondra.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For being our producer. Thank you for being our friend. You are amazing. You know how much I love you and adore you.
I love y'all too. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you came. I know your family. I saw like you had like probably one of your grandkids peeked in. Were they coming to see what grandma was doing? What did
they're like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But they have on their overalls today. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, you're undoing the overalls. Overalls are tricky. Zondra, what's your grandchildren?
All the time.
Oh, they were supposed to call me Zima, right? For Zondra Ma, but guess they couldn't say Zima, so they call me Mima, the oldest name in the whole wide world. They call me Mima.
That's precious. That is precious.
Okay. Do you have? I know you don't have anything going on quite yet, like me. I don't have anything going on. But what do you want your grandkids to call you?
I don't know. I should probably think about it, right? I've got adult children. They're not dating though. I have no idea. Gabrielle, what do you want your grandkids to call you?
Oh, girl, I'm still seeing what I want my kids to call me. So.
My kids still call me mommy. I mean, my daughters are 27
mommy.
And my son is 23, and they call us mommy and daddy. Like
That's
still.
Cute. I call my mom mom. Like it's got like an A in the middle.
Mom.
I don't know where it started, but it's stuck.
I still call my dad daddy. I like when I, hey daddy, how are you? Like I still call him daddy, but I call my mom mom.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Mom.
My kids still call me mommy too.
My boys are mama's boys, so they all call me mommy. Or they go mom, mommy, mom, and I'm like, oh my god, you guys kill me. But they did ask me recently what I wanted to be called. I'm like, well, I am definitely not a grandma. I mean, hello, this is not grandma material.
Grandma.
Well, no, they said, well, what about Titi? Because first of all, that's my initials, but second of all, that's what all my nieces and nephew call me, is Titi.
Oh, that's cute.
But isn't that like?
And it's aunt in Spanish.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what about like, Gigi or something like that? But
cute.
We shall see.
We shall see.
I mean, nobody's married yet or have kids because I am not grandma material yet.
Yeah, my parents are grandma and grandpa. Jay's parents are Mama and Bop. Like the Alex, the first grandchild, that's what she called him, was Bop. So that's
That's cute.
Hop
Mine
on
are
box, right?
my parents are Nanny and Poppy for my kids.
How funny.
And
We
my
have to think about these things, right? We've got legacies to create, right? Generations to train up. Well, ladies, it has been so much fun having you on the show. I'm going to order your book, Gabrielle. I'm going to read it on the airplane. I think that would just be
Yay.
a fun
Wait
airplane.
to read it.
I'm getting it too.
You'll have to let me know.
I can't wait.
I'm
I'm
gonna
starting to get the merch. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
the merch is like, single. Well, maybe I can't do that one.
Wait, right? You could.
Yeah, we've got some cute stuff. We actually have new styles coming in, I think this week, actually, or early next week.
Tina has some homework to do. She's got to start her self-love cocktail and solo things.
Yeah.
Things possibly.
I need to do more solo things. Well, the pandemic.
Yeah. But even if it doesn't have to be a crazy trip, you can like take yourself to the beach for the day,
Yeah.
Oh, now see, I've done that. I'm thinking like a Europe 1 or 2 week type of thing. Now I've taken myself to the beach several times by myself, took a book and just sat there because the beach is like my happy place.
Yeah.
That is definitely my happy place.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, this has been super fun. Magnetize.media. Make sure you enroll today. I'm super excited to be working on that project with Zondra. And it's launching at the end of this month. It's a really big, just a really fun program. We thought we were going to do it live last year, and we figured out a way that we could serve it and create it virtually. So we're sending you in the mail all of the equipment and everything that you need.
Wow.
Have your own studio and doing makeup tutorials from the glamorous Zondra Evans, right? I want Tina to start doing some makeup tutorials. That you are just so glamorous. It just
I got a little cleavage stuff going on here.
I'm in my sweats and my jammies, right?
No, I have pajama pants on.
She's all runway carpet ready.
Whatever.
You're so gorgeous. All right. Well, this has been super fun. If you guys want to, magnetize.media is the best thing right now. But if you are looking for more exposure for your business, your book, or your brand, you can grab my complimentary starter kit at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com. Press release ideas, publishing, speaking opportunities, guaranteed media opportunities, all in that complimentary starter kit. So I hope you'll grab that. Today, but truly check out magnetize.media. That's the next big program we've got launching.
Well, Gabrielle, thank you so much for coming on the show. I adore you. I'm going to still be, stalking you on Instagram. Zondra, happy birthday. We absolutely love you. All of the audience members are saying happy birthday. So I hope you go through and look at that. I am Tina Torres, client retention expert, otherwise known as the gratitude specialist. And if you're struggling with attracting the right clients, knowing how to connect to them, or even if you just don't know how to convert them into clients, I have a complimentary guide that I hope you grow your audience organically, online and offline. Connect and nurture those relationships, and then take those relationships and turn them into paying clients. You can grab that guide if you text the word connection to 26786. That is the word connection to 26786. You can still go by beyondgratitudebook.com. Get your gratitude book, your Beyond Gratitude book for only $5 on Amazon. Thank you guys so much for coming. It has been a year, 1 year anniversary for the Angel and Tina Morning Show. We hope we brought a whole year of bright sunshine, positive gratitude days to all of you guys. So thank you guys so much for being our audience members. We hope we brought a bright start to your day. We are Angel and Tina on the Angel and Tina Morning Show. We come to you live every weekday morning at 11 a.m. We will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.